Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel for a little comparison between two of the moodiest, broodiest Batman figures to ever exist. This one over here is by Enterbay, a custom velvet cape, and this one over here is by Hot Toys, came out quite recently. This one's been on the scene for a good few years. I don't know, I'm gonna just throw it out there and make up 6-7 years maybe. That's been available for a while. This has only just come out last year, sometime last year. So it has a custom cape from Jackson XU on Facebook. I recently reviewed this cape yesterday, actually, so that's like probably the last video on the channel if you go back. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check it out. It's a great cape. But I noticed when I was doing the video how odd the shoulders look on the Hot Toys figure, and I can think of ways to fix that, but again, you shouldn't have to. But I guess all these figures, you know, when you're striving for perfection, you will have to tweak a few things, mod a few things, sometimes, not all the time. But I'm just going to do a little comparison between these two Batman Begins figures. And, the only other thing to mention really is this one just happens to have on a different belt, because I'm using the Enterbay belt for that Batman over there. It's a long story. Those of you familiar with the channel, and if you've watched all of the comparisons already and the in-depth reviews on these figures and the mod videos and all the stuff I've done, believe me, I've done a lot of videos on these figures. And if you've seen them, you'll know why he's headless at the moment. It's because that head is usually on him, and different heads on different figures. I mix and match parts between all of them to try and make my ultimate figure. Trying to strive for the ultimate perfection. Batman Begins, one of my favorite films of all time, certainly my favorite Batman film of all time, my favorite superhero film of all time. Just absolutely love that movie. So I don't mind owning 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of this particular suit. I absolutely adore it. So the cape on the Enterbay was an attempt, or this might be the custom one that I've found on eBay. I attempted to make one of these big black velvet capes myself, because I used to do my own velvet capes for the 1/6 scale Batman, although that is not currently one of them. That's a Takara cape from an old figure. But yeah, I used to make my own velvet 1/6 scale capes. I did try to make the 1/4 scale, as I said, but in the end I decided to just buy a really well made one on eBay. So I'm pretty sure that's the one that he's currently wearing, although they were basically identical as far as once they're on there. It was easy for me to get mixed up because they looked exactly the same. It was just the fine detail of the way it was cut. That was the main difference between my one and the one I got on eBay, which was like Ferrigno, something like that. I don't know if he's still around these days, but for a while there he was selling velvet capes. He actually messaged me in the early days to find out how I was making mine, and that's how he got started. I think he messaged me one day and said, how are you making the 1/6 scale velvet capes? And I told him. I thought to myself, should I tell him, because I could be making some money here, but too lazy to be making capes for everybody. So he went off and made a fair bit of change on that one. But I just told him I was using the Takara Batman Begins cape as a stencil and cut around it when the velvet was underneath, and would just, there you go, bang, you've got yourself a 1/6 scale Batman Begins cape for your Hot Toys figure or your Dark Knight figure. But anyway, so I think that's the Ferrigno black velvet cape on him right there. And as I said, this is the Jackson XU one, which is fantastic, but as you can see, it's almost night and day. Literally night, dark as night. That is black velvet. So are those curtains behind the figures. Those are, light proof, black, thick black velvet curtains, and you can see how black they are. There's just black, void black. And the same thing here with the Enterbay cape. The only reason you're seeing any reflection right now is because it's Light City. He's got light coming there. He's got light coming across here. He's got light coming up from above, and he's got light shining right at him over there too. So he's got a lot of light hitting him right now, but then so does this one. But you can see it's just not as black as black velvet, and not much is. So that's how you got to do it. You got to use that velvet. So this is a fantastic cape. As I reviewed it yesterday, I said high praise for it, and absolutely it is. As far as the weight and feel of it, that is actually more accurate to the movie cape than this one is, as far as how it feels. Because it has the look of velvet in the film, but it is actually like a parachute nylon silk kind of situation that's super light and very easy to pick up in the wind. So What you'd really want is to Frankenstein mishmash or mash these two capes that you see before you together into one cape to get the ultimate cape for your 1/4 scale figure. Anyway, I'm going to move around them and talk about some things that I might notice and just shoot them in different lighting situations and piece it all together. And you guys can let me know in the comment section, which one do you think does the moody classic Batman Begins cape wrapped around him, standing on top of a building just looking down on the city. That classic shot of Batman from Batman Begins, the poster that we all see with just the kind of clouds in the background, and he's like his silhouette from the side profile and he's slightly looking down. You know, I can turn these towards each other, hopefully without messing up the cape's pose too much. So there we go. Move them to the side, and straight away, I mean, they both look nice, but that just looks better to me right now anyway. Getting some weird bump action going on here. It's not very smooth, whereas you know, that just looks natural. So anyway, let me set these up, and this is just an intro to the video really. Let me see what I can come up with, and I hope you enjoy it, because I know there's plenty of you guys out there who are into this particular kind of thing, this particular subject. The videos I've done in the past have done very well, and I get a lot of interaction from you guys. I love reading all the comments. Sorry if I haven't replied. Maybe give me a little nudge and remind me to reply to you, and I'll do that as soon as I get a spare second. I hope you enjoy the video, you awesome Batman Begins fans. Thing I notice between the two is the kind of sleek natural line of the Enterbay transition between the cowl, the shoulders, and the way the cape kind of flows over that, and just a very natural looking shape to that. Whereas over here, it's just not right. The cowl's awesome, the shape of the cowl, the sculpt, it's all brilliant, but then you get this drop right before this shoulder. It's very rounded and raised compared to like where the traps would be, I guess, but you can see there's something not right about the shape of that. Something unnatural, something disproportionate, something wrong. And obviously that's nothing to do with Jackson's cape. It's fantastic. It's just the Hot Toys figure, the shoulder area, the way it transitions into the neck and cowl, it just seems very wrong to me. Whereas this, you know, if I just turn him around facing away from us, we might get a better view of this. Let's be careful, because this one, he's just standing up on the stone base. He's not actually being held up by any kind of stand. Alright. So that looks exactly like in The Dark Knight when he's about to leap down in the garage on top of Scarecrow's white van at the beginning of The Dark Knight, and the camera just sort of comes over his shoulder like this. The shape of that looks dead on to me. And from the back, the Hot Toys one from the back doesn't look quite so bad, but you can still see this kind of big shoulder bump there and a dip, and then straight into this cowl, which is a lot higher up than this section of his shoulder here. So yeah, that's more down to the Hot Toys body for the Hot Toys Batman Begins. Really, that's the issue. It's something worth noting.
Alright, I'm done. Pulled the Enterbay head off. Pulled it right off the body. Took it right off. Intention to swap it with the outdoors head. Gonna take that boy head, put it on the Enterbay body.
Right, so yes, this is the Hot Toys cowl, and now I remember why that doesn't work, because the socket hole, and there's your Enterbay joint there, they will, you know, connect, but it's down as far as it will go, and look how high it is, you see. It's just not really going to work. I wonder if I can at least just balance it. No, I think that's going to fall. Don't fall. Stay there. Please don't fall. I hate it when stuff falls. Nah, that's not going to work. I was just trying to get some kind of rough idea of what it would look like with the Hot Toys cowl on the Enterbay body. But yeah, that doesn't work. Damn shame, because the Hot Toys head looks a bit big sometimes for the Hot Toys body. It's a much thicker side profile on the Hot Toys head next to an Enterbay one. So there's your Enterbay and Hot Toys. I mean, already you can see it is deeper, you know, from the tip of that nose to the back there. It's just... So my phone case flap is hanging, sorry. It's just bigger, deeper, wider, stronger. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, there's much better visual comparisons between these two heads already on the channel, so you go ahead and you dig deep, because you'll find some goodies. Welcome to the goodie room. Anyway, that's not going to work. What about the Enterbay cowl on the Hot Toys thingy? No, it's not going to connect, but I can at least hold it there for you. It doesn't really give you much of an idea, but that is the Enterbay head on the Hot Toys body with a Jackson XU cape. Alright, so with regards to the situation with the Hot Toys shoulders looking so weird, I don't think it would be that hard. There is a really tough kind of lining around this neck piece here. Maybe that's to protect the rubber from touching the Bruce Wayne head sculpt neck. I don't know, but I do seem to be able to lift this up and get my thumb in there a bit, so that I could technically just get this cape out of the way, and I could maybe shove something between the body and the suit to lift this bit up a bit, because this is the culprit. This section right here, you've got this big ass bumpy shoulder, and then this kind of dip inwards where it just looks hella weird, and it's killing the look, quite frankly. Your eye goes to it straight away, and it's an instant fail. You're not going to be able to get away with it looking like that, as far as I'm concerned. So I will probably need to fix that. But then again, when I had him set up before this cape arrived, this was set up as the first night out, you know, ski mask look with the harness on the body, and it never looked weird then. It always looked absolutely perfect. But it can't help, it can't hurt to maybe stuff the shoulders a little bit with some cotton pads. Same stuff that I use for the BVS Batman there with the beef mod to make him a bit thicker. Definitely worked out good for him. So let me get back to you. Let me try stuffing this a little bit, see how it looks. Although it's really quite a tight fit. If I do shove it in there and then I don't like it, I mean, getting it out is possible, obviously, but it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. I don't know. I shouldn't have to do this. You know what I mean? They should have looked at this when it was finished and thought, hang on a minute, our shoulders suck. Let's delay it the same as we have for all the Justice League figures and the 1/4 scale Joker, Heath Ledger, and then, you know, let's just get it right. Hopefully that's why the Joker's taken so long, because they want to improve on it and quite frankly, it needed it, because at all the events that quarter scale Joker was shown at, it's pretty underwhelming, to be honest. Did anyone really look at that and think, oh my god, I have to have that Joker? I don't know, maybe it's because we've seen so many, and the DX11 is still one hell of a piece, but there's so many amazing custom Joker figures now when it comes to the Heath Ledger portrayal. It's just, I keep seeing every day on Facebook more custom heads with rooted hair, just better and better and better. So Hot Toys really need to deliver something special when that does come out, but I paid for that already, so that's coming. I'll give you a full, the full treatment once I get that thing, once it's released in Hong Kong. Anyway, let me think about this shoulder situation. Doesn't look too bad there. It's once the cape goes on it. Maybe if I use the velvet cape, it wouldn't be so obvious because it's a thicker cape. And this is super, super thin. That is probably why. Well, just had an idea. Not that it's going to look better than the velvet, but let's try the Jackson XU cape on the Enterbay Batman. Ooh. Okay, the Jackson XU cape doesn't work with the Enterbay Batman because the Enterbay Batman's head doesn't sit flush enough to the body to tighten and grip those. They're gone, see, bye-bye. Yeah, it just doesn't sit flush enough to the suit in order to pinch down the the clips. So without some serious modding to this connection to the body, that's not going to work. You can see the magnets under the suit there that hold the clips in place for the velvet cape. Get this bad boy. Maybe move him back a touch, just to make it look a little bit less light. But yeah, the body Enterbay used, it really does feel quite outdated now next to this body. Although, because of the nature of the suit and what it's made from, you can't really leave this in any kind of dynamic pose with the arms bent or holding up a grapple gun or anything. You don't want to mess with it. You don't want to risk anything happening to the inner elbow bit here, because that's always a bit of a tender area with Batman Begins suits. Not that I've ever seen any rips, but the Enterbay body under here, mine's fine, nothing's broken, thank goodness, but I wouldn't go messing with it too much. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the Hot Toys one is really good proportion wise. It's just looking at it right now that if you were to ask me and I hadn't have seen it with the cape on, I wouldn't say that anything looks weird here. I'd say that looks fine. But once the cape goes on there with the cowl, I don't know. Let's get everything back on again and have a look, and let's try and figure out what's going on here. So I'm sure many of you are screaming at your phones right now or your TV screens. It is best to watch these on a TV. You ain't going to get the full benefit on your phone. But anyway, I am about to show you what the velvet cape looks like on the Hot Toys Batman, which is something I've never actually done before, because the cape clips for the Enterbay figure, I can't use the Hot Toys cape clips because they are attached to the stock cape that comes with this guy, and the stock cape is awful. So I have to use the Enterbay magnet-based clips. The Hot Toys figure still uses magnets, same as the Enterbay figure does, but unfortunately, reasons I can't really be bothered to explain. Yeah, they're just all over the place. So that is actually the closest I can get. Really, as soon as I try to move it away from the wrongness that you're seeing here, it just moves right back again. So you're just gonna have to imagine that these are in the correct position. But anyway, here is the velvet cape on the Hot Toys figure, and as you can see, a little bit on this side still, but much better looking than it was with the thinner cape. You don't notice the weird shoulder thing so much. In fact, it kind of looks just right. So black velvet, I'm telling you people, there's a lot of guys out there, well, there isn't a lot of guys out there making custom capes. You got Jackson XU, Unreal Customs. I'm telling you guys, just bite the bullet and use velvet. That's what you need to use for these 1/4 scale Batman Dark Knight Trilogy Batmans. You have to use velvet. It's just not black enough, you know, it's just not. Yeah. See what I'm saying? I mean, it looks light grey or charcoal grey or something. It should be jet black, black as night. The whole idea being that, you know, when he wraps this around himself, when he wants to conceal himself in the shadows, this cape certainly helps him do that. That's the whole thing with Batman Begins, is stealth, which is and fear, of course. Well, that looks good, man. Now I'm confused. I kind of want to leave him set up like that for a while, and I think I might. Anyway, interesting. Well, that undeniably looks awesome, and the velvet cape, thickness of it really works, and just like I said, it gets rid of that problem with the shoulders looking odd. Seems more seamless, more in proportion, more right, and it helps because the jet blackiness of the cape makes the, you know, the Hot Toy suit look less black than it did before, because again, you know, you really need a contrast, a stark contrast between the suit and the cape, and we're just not really getting that unless you use black velvet. You really have to. It even makes this, you know, there's a noticeable difference there, but obviously with the more charcoaly finish of the Enterbay suit, it's much more stark and in your face. But it should be, because you go ahead and you check out my previous videos. I got the books down there, 2 Dark Knight Trilogy books, and there's a lot of pictures of the suit in harsh lighting, so you can see. It's, you know, it's just a fact. You got to have a contrast between the cape and the suit, and regardless of how awesome that looks, it's gonna have to all go back on the Enterbay, because I just want it to be as close to the film as possible. And when he's all set up and the velvet cape is wrapped around him and I got him looking right, you can't beat it. So you go ahead, guys, let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I'm sure you got some thoughts, so I would love to hear them. It's a shame though that the cape clips don't really work. The Enterbay cape clips aren't really working on the Hot Toys body here. As you can see, they just flip over and go like that. So I don't know. There's a way around it, obviously, if I really wanted to do it, but I don't really want to do it. I'm going to leave him set up full time as Broody Batman, and the Hot Toys one will probably go back to being the ski mask Bruce Wayne first night out one, because I do love having that version on display, because it's just a cool scene in the greatest damn Batman movie ever made. Alright, let me put them back together. Before I do take it apart, let me just show you the side profile and some different angles of the Hot Toys Batman with a velvet cape on. As you can see, it does solve that problem. Even remember from the side when we had the other cape on, there was like this kind of weird bumpiness to the shoulder. It's not quite as obvious with the thick black velvet. I mean, you know I love the thick Batman Begins cowl, but I don't know, man. Sometimes I think Hot Toys went a little bit, maybe too far with the thickness, and believe me, I never thought I'd hear myself say that. The thicker the better for me. That's why I love the Ben Affleck Dawn of Justice look so much, because of the thickness, man. Look at it, like a damn animal. Batman's got to be intimidating, but that's a whole other, you know, I've already talked about that. I just think he lost his intimidation factor when they switched to the Dark Knight suit. It's a very cool suit, but I've said this before and I'll say it again just in case you missed it the first time. If that Batman, if I was a criminal and I was running down an alleyway at night trying to make my escape, and he suddenly leapt out of nowhere and landed in front of me and slowly raised up in front of me, I might be afraid, but more than anything I'd be kind of like wowed by the suit. I'd be like, who the hell is this guy? It's like some high-tech military experiment thing. Whereas if this thing suddenly landed in front of me and slowly raised up, I would crap myself. It just, at first glance, it looks more animal than human, and I know you can see his human face showing, but in the darkness at night, all you would see is the shape. Not that one. Just the shape of the demon. Speaking of the demon, there is a demonic version of the Batman Begins Batman. Look at that thing. So that was this, but demonized. Yeah, there's no denying it does look fantastic. So those of you out there can work out your cape clip situation, or if we can convince Unreal Customs and Jackson XU to maybe bust out a velvet cape. I know the material's a lot more expensive, Maybe trickier to get hold of, but you gotta do it when it comes to these big Batmans from the trilogy, man. You have to. Alright, so I think I've shown you enough angles of how the Hot Toys Batman looks with the velvet cape. And I know some of you guys out there will probably want to grab some screenshots of this, so I'll try and get as many angles as possible. Just turn him around. That looks bloody good, man, doesn't it? That looks really nice. Remember, harsh light coming right at him from this one, so it will affect things. Just imagine if you get this set up just the way you want it. It's all about the velvet, man, I'm telling you. It's got to be velvet. Hear my prayer out there, custom cake making dudes. Got to be velvet. Just a slight tweak to make it kind of look like he's actually holding the cape and sort of wrapping it around himself using his hands. You can just sort of about make that out there. I've slightly bent his hands inward towards his waist, just to kind of give the impression that he's holding his cape together. I think that comes across quite well there. Again, cape clips are all over the place because of the situation, but you can see, man, a black velvet cape really improves the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Batman Begins figure. Jackson's cape does as well, but I can't lie to you, it's about velvet. It really is. It has to be velvet. So I'm just here to let you know. I'm glad I have one. I'd certainly like to see more people using a velvet cape. I have seen quite a few over the years when I peek over on Sideshow Freaks on the Enterbay Batman thread, which is quite big now, and there's plenty of folks on there with great pictures of awesome displayed Batman figures. But yeah, man, look at that. Well, I hope they become more readily available soon. And that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you found it helpful. If there's anything else you want to know or see, go ahead and let me know in the comments section, and if it's possible, you can be sure that I will bring you that content in the near future. Always happy to dive back into the Batman Begins thing and see what I can come up with. I absolutely love working with these figures, so I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the notifications for new content. Check me out on Facebook, always posting stuff on there. Definitely check me out on Instagram at dknight333. Lots of stuff goes up on there, hell of a lot of pictures, loads of behind the scenes footage and stuff like that. And you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. It would really help this channel out and help me keep up with releases. You know, I love to review stuff. I go really in depth and bring you a hell of a lot of content on anything that I get. Try to leave no stone unturned, but I gotta be honest, keeping up when I'm on my own, you know, it is tricky. So if you guys really love the content, you want to help out, $1 a month on Patreon will just help me get those reviews out to you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did. I'll be back with you real soon. Got some awesome custom 1/6 scale knives and 1/4 scale knives coming from Fergo, one of the ultimate weapon makers for figures. So they will be here any day now. More Myers action coming at you, and more Batman action coming at you real soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Love you loads. Take it easy. See you soon. Bye bye.